All right, welcome. Today, we're going to crack open the engine of the English language and look at something that might just change the way you see sentences forever. Seriously, forget everything you thought you knew about grammar because we are about to dive into its hidden, super flexible, and kind of fascinating internal logic.
Okay, let's just jump right into the mystery. Take a look at a sentence like rich is good. Wait a minute, isn't rich an adjective? How can it be the subject? And what about steadily is the best way to work? Steadily is clearly an adverb. And then you have on the beach now is much better, where a whole phrase is the subject. Now, according to the basic rules we all learned, these should be totally wrong, but they're not. So what's really going on here?
Well, here's the thing. These sentences aren't actually breaking the rules. Not at all. In fact, they're revealing a much deeper, cooler rule. They show us that English has this underlying system that's less about what a word is and much more about what a word does.
And that brings us to the main event. We usually get so hung up on a word's form. Is it a noun, an adjective, a verb? But English grammar is really all about a word's position, its job in the sentence. Is it the subject, the object? The big idea here is that the position or the slot a word fills is the absolute key to unlocking this whole puzzle.
And you know what the best part is? It's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. To understand this entire system, we really only need to focus on just three main slots, or what we call positional classes. And here they are, the big three. We've got the nominal, which you can just think of as the noun slot. Then there's the adjectival, the adjective slot, and finally the adverbial, which is the adverb slot. Simple enough, right? Let's break each one down. Okay, first up, let's dive into the most important one, the nominal slot. This is the star of the show, really. It's the position in a sentence that does all the heavy lifting, acting as the main character, the subject or the object.
So, the formal definition says the nominal position is characteristically the habitation of nouns. I just love that phrasing. A habitation of nouns. It's perfect. Think of it like a parking spot that's reserved for nouns. It's where you expect to see the subject of your sentence. But, and this is the crucial part, other types of cars can totally sneak in and park there too.
And this shows that idea perfectly. In rich is good, the adjective rich just pulled right into that nominal parking spot and is now acting as the subject. In I enjoy swimming, the gerund swimming takes the nominal slot as the object. And in our crazy example from before, that entire phrase on the beach now has pulled right into that subject slot. See? The form of the word doesn't matter. It's the position that gives it the power of a noun.
So now that we get the main character, the nominal, let's talk about the supporting cast. These are the modifiers. They're the words and phrases that fill the adjectival and adverbial slots, and they're the ones that add all the color, all the detail, and context to our sentences.
First up is the adjectival slot. Its job is super simple. It modifies a nominal. It just describes the noun in the sentence. So if you can ask which one or what kind about a noun, the answer is going to be whatever is sitting in an adjectival slot. And you probably guessed it, just like the nominal slot, this position is not just for adjectives. A noun like college in a college student is acting as an adjectival. It's telling us what kind of student. An adverb like upstairs in the people upstairs, it's telling us which people. And even a whole phrase, sitting in the corner, can fill that slot to describe the boy. All right, and now for the adverbial slot. This one is the free spirit of the group. It is incredibly flexible. It can modify almost anything, verbs, adjectives, sometimes the entire sentence. It's the part of the sentence that answers all those questions: when, where, why, or how. And its defining feature, its real superpower, is its freedom to move around. Okay, so this brings up a really good question, right? Since we've seen that all sorts of phrases can be modifiers, how do you know if a phrase is playing an adjectival role or an adverbial one? A prepositional phrase could be either. We need a test. And lucky for us, there is one. It's called the movement test, and it's so simple and effective, it feels like a cheat code. All you do is take the phrase you're not sure about, try to move it to a different spot, usually the beginning of the sentence is easiest, and just see if the sentence still works. If it does, boom, it's an adverbial. Let's see it in action. I met her at the bank. The phrase at the bank tells us where. So let's try the test. Can we move it? At the bank, I met her. Yep, sounds perfectly natural. That means at the bank passes the movement test and is filling an adverbial slot. Okay, now let's try another one. I love the girl in the first row. The phrase in the first row tells us which girl. Let's try to move it.
In the first row, I love her. Yeah, that sounds super weird, right? It just doesn't make sense. It fails the movement test. And why? Because that phrase is an adjectival. It's basically grammatically stuck to the noun it's modifying, the girl. It can't move away.
So what does all this mean? It means we can stop thinking about grammar as this messy, confusing collection of rules and exceptions. We can start to see this really elegant underlying system that English is built on. It's a whole new way to see the language.
And this quote from our source material just says it all. Basically, just because a word is in the noun slot doesn't make it a noun. Its position is what gives it that power. The job it's doing is so much more important than the label we put on the word itself. So, let's recap what we've figured out. We've seen that sentence structure is really about slots and positions, not just the words themselves. We've learned that pretty much any word or phrase can step up and play the role of a noun if it's in that nominal slot. And we've got a great tool, the movement test, to figure out the hidden job a phrase is doing. The biggest takeaway here? English is way more flexible and systematic than you might think.
And I want to leave you with this last thought to chew on. The fact that we can take a whole complex idea, like on the beach now, and our brains can just treat it as a single unit, a single thing, well, that's kind of amazing. It lets us build these incredibly complex thoughts out of simpler parts. So what does this ability to package ideas tell us about the sheer power and efficiency of how we communicate? It's a pretty fascinating question to think about. Thanks for watching.